Well, hey, FC fam, we finally made it. We're to the end of the Seeds series. It's been 6 weeks. We've had a great time gathering together in small groups across both campuses. And I get the honor today, I'm Pastor Jordan from Hinton, to conclude the whole thing. And I hope that this has been a blessing to you. I hope that you have found ways in your life that you can grow, because here's the truth: all of us, everyone, at Faith Church can grow more in Jesus. And that's what this series has been about. And I hope that you've enjoyed growing together, not just individually, but corporately as your small group. And so I get the honor, like I said, of closing this down. We talked this last week about seeds of eternity. We talked about producing fruit that lasts, fruit that matters. It's another way of saying legacy. That's what the idea was. And that's going to be a big question at the end of this. What kind of fruit are you producing that will be your legacy? What is the fruit that you're producing in your life that's going to last? But I wanted to share a story, a personal story that happened to me just recently, because I think it perfectly illustrates this principle of seeds of eternity. In our small town in Hinton, there's 2,900 people. That's if you don't count the prison population. And of those 2,900 people, we have 8 churches. This is so Bible Belt. Small town, lots of churches. We get together, the pastors there, and it's something called a ministerial alliance. We meet, we pray together, we do events together, we even worship together sometimes. It's a wonderful experience. But there's one church, and it was the only church where I've never met their pastor. It also happens to be the church that's closest to our Faith Church campus. It's the Pentecostal Holiness Church of Hinton, and I have heard of the pastor. I just never gotten a chance to meet him. The reason why is because he and his family live in Moore, and they drive out every Sunday morning to worship in Hinton. And so I've never got a chance to meet him in person. We've prayed for him, we know about him, but I don't know what he looks like. He doesn't know what I look like. We've never met each other before until a couple Sundays ago. As most people in Western Oklahoma do on a Sunday afternoon, we went out to eat at the Cherokee exit. And across both campuses, I bet there's people that know about the Cherokee exit, where you get some really good food. They have a buffet. And so we took our family out there. We ate Sunday dinner together. And as we were waiting in the checkout line to pay our bill, an older gentleman walked up to me. And he came up to me, and I'm getting older now, and so I do the same thing. You just start talking to perfect strangers. And he comes up to me and says, "You look familiar." Of course, that's a very difficult thing for this stranger to say to you. You look familiar. How do you answer? Well, of course, I chose to use a dad joke. Well, I guess I just got one of those faces. That was my response to him. But he didn't let up after that. He continued. He said, "What's your name?" I said, "Well, I'm Jordan Parnell." And this was his next comment. He said, "Are you kin to Roy Parnell?" That took me back, because I actually am kin to a Roy Parnell. It was my great grandfather who was a Pentecostal preacher in southern Georgia. But of course, I'm thinking there is no possible way we're talking about the same Roy Parnell. I mean, that's so many states away. It's a different place. It's a different time. So I said, "Actually, I am, as my great grandfather, but he's from Georgia." And then he really blew my mind when he said, "Was his wife's name Lily Bell Davis?" And now you know, okay, Roy Parnell, Lily Bell Davis, this guy knows my great grandpa and my great grandma. And guess who it turned out to be? The pastor of the church that's right next to ours, right there in Hinton, that I had never met before. His name's Pastor Bennett. He began to tell me stories about how my great-grandfather used to drive all the way to Oklahoma City to preach for his dad when he was just a child. He also told me that I knew you were related to him because you have his nose. And just by telling you that here on camera, I'm aware that hundreds of people are now looking at my nose, which totally bothers me, but that's totally off topic. Let's get back on topic. The point is that here's a perfect stranger that recognized just a random encounter, recognized the fruit of my great-grandfather. I think about that story. I've thought about it a lot since that encounter happened. How wild it is that somebody from so far away produced fruit that's lasting even now. My grandfather produced something that somebody recognized many years later in a totally different part of the country. That's what it means when we talk about eternity. That's what the writer of Ecclesiastes chapter 3 was talking about when he says God has put eternity in people's hearts, that we are capable, as being image bearers of God, created in his image, of producing fruit that will last the whole cycle. That's the story of God's people. And so that's the big question is, what kind of fruit are you producing that can be recognized 50, 60, 70 years from now? Who's going to recognize what you've been doing all of this time later? I have a verse from the Bible I'd like to read to you. It's in Psalms chapter 78. We didn't talk about this, but I think it perfectly sums up the end of our discussion on seeds of eternity. Psalm 78 verse 1 says, "O my people, listen to my instructions. Open your ears to what I'm saying, for I will speak to you in a parable. I will teach you hidden lessons from our past." Stories we have heard and stories we have known. Stories about our ancestors and how they handed them down to us. We will not hide these truths from our children. We will tell them to the next generation. We will tell them about the glorious deeds of the Lord, about his power and his mighty wonders, for he issued his laws to Jacob. He gave his instructions to Israel. He commanded our ancestors to teach their children so that the next generation might know them, even the children not yet born. And they in turn will teach their own children. You see, that's the seed that we've been talking about. We've been talking about how a seed becomes a tree, produces fruit that has seeds that become a tree that produces fruit that has seeds and it just keeps going and going and going. That's what it means to live eternally. That's what it means to live a legacy that matters, because here's the truth. All of us every single day are producing fruit. The question isn't, are you producing fruit? It's what kind of fruit. It's what quality of fruit. Is it fruit that's only here for today? It will ripen and it will soon be worthless. Or is it the kind of fruit that produces seeds that will reproduce and reproduce from generation to generation? So those are the questions that I'm thinking about. I hope those are the questions that you'll talk about. First off, you are producing fruit. Is it good fruit? Is it fruit that also has seeds in it? Or is it just fruit to be consumed for today? Is it just the fruits of what I want, the fruits of what I need, the fruits of what I have, versus the fruits of what I can give that will last long beyond me? That's the big question today, and that's the thing I want you to discuss. Thank you so much for celebrating seeds with us. God bless you.